Hey everyone. Hey y'all. Hey beauties. How we doing, y'all? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Yeah, we in here. Okay. We are in here. I had to check in with y'all. Make sure everybody is having a abundant day. Y'all already know how we doing. Y'all let me go ahead and pull up this other channel real quick before your girl forget. Y'all already know how we do. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. Good afternoon, good evening. Listen, we're gonna dive right on in, okay? We ain't wasting no time tonight, y'all. We ain't wasting no time. Hold on, let me make sure like I change the the setting on my TikTok because I have no idea if I did it already, y'all. But anyways, happy Monday. Thank you guys for joining Dear Me. I am me live, you guys. Happy day, y'all. Welcome back to Dear Me, I Am Me Workshop Live, y'all. Listen, give it up to us, y'all. This is our eighth live. I can't believe that we are already on our eighth live. Like, get some mirrors in the chat. Like, give us some lights, some hearts just for that. Because if you guys already know the story of like where Dear Me like where it began and stuff, like overcoming fear and getting on this mic and like just speaking to y'all. Let me tell you something. Your girl is just like overjoyed by everything that is happening, everything that is unfolding. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you just continuing to push through that fear, you know what I'm saying? One thing that I have been like really reading on is that like if you don't push through your fear, then your action is dead. Everything that you're working on is worthless, you know what I'm saying? And that's not who we are, you know. Like I get on this mic every day, especially every Monday, and I'm doing this out of getting out of my fear. You know what I'm saying? So I want you guys to continue to push through whatever you are overcoming, and you just continue to do what you got to do, baby. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to Dear Me, I Am Me Live. I am Tashiana. For those that are new, I am Tashiana. I created Dear Me, I Am Me as a space for real connection, you guys, real conversation, self reflection, and also growth. Okay. I share honest moments, I share nothing but truth. I have been into holistic wellness for a very long time, some years now. We go through moments with journaling, through conversations, through blogging. We also do crystal healing and also, most and importantly, personal development. That is what tonight is all about. It's about personal development, okay? To help you to reconnect with yourself, build self awareness, and also to protect your peace. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know how we feel about that. You have to protect your peace. Like this isn't about perfection. It's about being real with where you are and where you're growing from there. All right. So again, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to Dear Me, I Am Me. And if this is your first time in this space, let me tell you something, girl. I am glad. You know what? I'm not gonna say girl because I got some gentlemen in here. I realized like we got some gentlemen in here listening. So shout out to you both, okay? Shout out to the men and shout out to the beauties that's in here, okay? So I am glad that you chose tonight out of all nights to be with us tonight. So go ahead and drop some mirrors in the chat, y'all. Drop some mirrors in the chat. And let me see who is all in here, okay? Let's see. We're gonna start from the beginning and see who's all in here. Shout out to Daisy. Shout out to Mimi. Shout out to I think it's Freaky Chan. Shout out to Esteban. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to G Sexy. Shout out to Spoiled Wifey 26. Shout out to Tweety D. Shout out to the one and only. I think I said it right. I'm not quite sure. Shout out to Roglo, baby. Shout out to Mariko. I think, correct me if I said it wrong. Shout out to all y'all. I want to say thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Shout out to all of y'all. Nothing but love. I am appreciative. Shout out to all of you guys. Don't forget, you guys, don't forget to share Dear Me and I and Me with the next person who you know will enjoy tonight's live, okay? And if you are catching the replay, let me tell you something, you're not late. You're not late, boo. You are not late. As we always say, you showed up exactly where you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? You showed up exactly where you're supposed to be. So, yeah, let me tell you something. I got to chit chat with y'all for a second before we actually get into tonight's live, okay? I got to chit chat with y'all for just a second, right? So, it has been a long day, right? So, if those that do not know, like I get up every day at 4 a.m. in the awakening, okay? And sometimes, people you come across like different people, right? You come across different energies and stuff, right? And sometimes they throw you for a loop. And when you start to evolve, right, and you start to grow, right? Give me 1 second, y'all. My bad, y'all. As you start to evolve, right, and as you start to grow, um, people don't get used to you saying the word no, right? And even sometimes with yourself, you're not used to saying the word no, right? No to things that do not fit inside your category or your values. That's what I'm saying, right? Of course, we say yes to the things that makes us fulfilled, right? That's in our values, right? But we have to get used to saying no to the things that are just worthless, right? They're not like they're a waste of time, right? So today, you guys, I caught myself in the middle of doing something like that, right? And let me tell you something, y'all. I felt so good about it, y'all. Like I got in my car after everything that done happened, and y'all, I was playing gospel music for like an hour straight, and it just felt so good to understand that, like sometimes you don't see progress, right? Because we're in it, right? But when that moment happens, it's like, oh my gosh, like boom, like I can't believe I did that, right? So you guys, that was just a moment that I just had to share with you guys. Like, like don't be afraid to say yes to progress, but also saying no to what's not valuable for your own growth, right? So with that being said, before we get into tonight's conversation, y'all already know how we do. I want y'all to pause for a minute. I want you guys to pause for a minute, okay? I want you to check in with yourself. I want you to check in with yourself, boo. I want you to check in with yourself, okay? How are you doing today? How are you doing today? How are you doing mentally? How are you doing today? Okay? And I want you guys to rate yourself from a scale of 1 to 10. Okay? I want you guys to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, right? And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna go ahead and do my number, okay? Out of everything that happened today, I'm going to say I'm an 8. I'm an 8. Because you know what? Ain't nobody gonna steal my joy, right? Ain't nobody gonna steal your joy, right? Like we all got some things that we have going on, right? But can't nobody steal your joy of what you have built up in here, right? Which is just full of light and is just full of love, right? Can't nobody steal that. So for me, I'm an 8, right? I'm an 8. Of course, I had to learn some things today, but that's what it's all about, right? Each day we're learning something new. So, rate yourself. How are you doing today? I am an 8. So while everybody is still coming in, I want to shout out some more people while y'all are coming in, okay? So shout out to Rainy, shout out to D Fish, shout out to Andrea, shout out to Wonderland Snail, shout out to Chosen One. Oh, I like that name, Chosen One. Shout out. Shout out to Mushy Paul, shout out to Brenda, shout out to Maria, shout out to Suki, and shout out to Mariko again. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to each and every last one of you guys in here. And if you are feeling comfortable with tonight, don't be afraid to put your number in the chat as well, okay? Go ahead and put your number in the chat. Also, like I said, if you guys are feeling comfortable with that. So also I want to go ahead and let you guys know that for some reason it's saying that my signal is not the best. When I did pull up earlier, um, when I hold on, you guys. When I pulled up earlier, they was working on some of the wires outside. However, we're gonna keep it moving, okay? If I happen, you guys on TikTok, if I happen to have a signal drop, I am on YouTube under the same name, who is Tashiana on live. So you guys can also join me over there just in case my signal drop over here, okay? So I just wanted to give you guys a little warning. So let's go ahead and like get into tonight's live, you guys, okay? Because I already know y'all got y'all numbers written down inside you guys' journals, right? I know you guys already are just ready to like just start the workshop, right? But like I said, we ain't wasting no time for I don't want to waste no time for you guys, okay? So we also want to shout out the Dear Me, I Me community, you guys, for also showing up online, okay? Like I see y'all, shout out to y'all. Like I see y'all in our own private chat. I want to say thank you guys for also like being in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, I got 3 chats on here. I have our own community chat on here. Hold on, y'all. Our own community chat, YouTube, and also TikTok. So shout out to everybody, okay? Shout out to the Dear Me, I Am Me community, okay? Like I am just like big time grateful for y'all. Shout out, okay? So over the last few weeks, right? Um we have been on different subjects, okay? We have talked about accountability. We have talked about self-talk. We have talked about growth, and we also have talked about what happens when people begin to notice your changes, which is what I was just talking about earlier on values, right? Tonight isn't just about learning something new, okay, y'all? It's about reflecting on what we have already discovered together. Okay, that is what tonight is all about, right? It's about revisiting everything that we have spoke on within the last 4 weeks to make sure like we are understanding what was already talked about. Okay, so before we get into tonight's discussion, which one? I got a little question for y'all. I got a little question. Okay, which of the last 4 episodes, which of the last 4 episodes stayed with you the most and why? I'm going to say it one more time. Which of the last 4 episodes stayed with you the most and why? Because this is what we're going to be going over tonight. Okay, like I said, we're gonna be talking about accountability, self-talk, growth, and also what happens when people notice you change. We talked about all of that within the last four weeks. Okay, and I want y'all to be honest. Which one is your most favorite episode? Which one? Which one? Which one? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Which one? Which one? Which one? Which one? Which one? Which one? But okay, y'all. Okay. Let me chill a little bit, okay? Because honestly, y'all, I don't even want you to choose. I don't even want you guys to choose. I don't want you to choose a favorite episode, okay? Because I feel like Um, I feel like each episode connects to each person on a different level, right? I feel like each conversation is built on the last one in a different way, right? So there is no favorites, right? Like you're learning something new. Like one episode is about accountability, that's accountability. The other one is about self-talk, there's self-talk. These are different topics that we're covering. So there's no favorites. I really don't want y'all to choose. Shout out, y'all. Shout out, shout out, shout out, shout out. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you guys for joining tonight's live. Thank y'all. Thank you guys. I'm gonna let a few more people come on in before we get started. Hold on. It says like I have two messages, but hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. I want to say shout out to everybody for coming on in. Shout out to y'all. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get started on tonight's live, okay? So, one thing I have learned from um each conversation, like I said, that was built on the last one is that, like one conversation, hold on, you guys. One conversation has helped us to understand how we hold ourselves accountable without turning on ourselves, right? Another one remind us the importance of how we speak to ourselves, which is a big deal, right? And the last two shows us what happens when growth becomes visible. All right. And it's just not about internally, right? But also externally as well, right? So now that we are aware of each thing that we're going to be talking about tonight, I want you guys to like go ahead, get in a quiet space. I want you guys to go ahead and light your candle. I want you guys to go ahead and grab your tea, grab your journal, grab your Dear Me, I Am Me worksheet because I know you guys already have that. And we're just going to go ahead and open up this diary again, right? And it's time to just let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Hey, Terry, thank you for joining. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Cupcake. Thank you for joining. All right. So before we really get started, let's go ahead and get into our disclaimer, y'all. I got to find it. Let's go ahead and get into our disclaimer, okay? Let's go ahead and get into our disclaimer, okay? So the Dear Me, I Am Me program is designed to encourage self-reflection, personal awareness, and emotional growth through guided journaling and also intentional conversation. This program is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. The information, concepts, prompts, and discussion shared within the Dear Me, I Am Me program are not intended to replace professional, medical, legal, or financial advice. Participant in this program does not establish a therapeutic or clinical relationship. While many participants find journaling and self reflection supportive in their personal journey, individual experiences may vary. If you are currently experiencing severe emotional distress, mental health challenges, or require professional support, we strongly encourage you to seek guidance from a licensed therapist, a counselor, or qualified health provider. By participating in the Dear Me, I Am Me program, you acknowledge that you are responsible for your own well being, choices, and personal development throughout the program experience. The program and its creator aim to provide a supportive and empowering environment, but results, breakthroughs, and outcomes will be different from each individual. So, as we always say, take what resonates, Leave what doesn't. Remember what you are carrying. You do not have to carry it alone tonight. And most importantly, be gentle with yourself. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's take a deep breath and let it out. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get into it, okay? So, y'all, now that we know the difference, like I said, we're going back to the last couple weeks, right? The last 4 weeks, right? Hold on, give me 1 second. I have to. All right. So, um, for the last couple of weeks, right? Like I said, we have spoke on different topics, right? We introduced the difference between accountability and also emotional punishment, right? Accountability is supposed to build you, right? It's supposed to say, okay, I see what happened. I learned from it and I owned up to it, right? But emotional punishment keeps you stuck there, right? See, you can learn where you fell short without turning it into a whole identity. Y'all remember we went over this, all right? See, you know what? Let's go ahead and pull out our journals because we're going to start early on the questions tonight, right? Because, like I said, we're just revisiting the topics, right? We're going to put this in our brain, okay? So let's go ahead and pull out our journals and also our Dear Me, I Am Me worksheets, okay? So, one of the first reflective questions on the night that I know you guys probably already have, right? From the last couple of weeks. The first question is, have you ever turned one mistake into an identity instead of a lesson, experience, and a moment? Okay, let's go back and let's say that again, right? Have you ever turned one mistake into an identity instead of a lesson, experience, and a moment? Right? Have you? One more time. Have you ever turned one mistake into an identity instead of a lesson, an experience, and a moment? Have you? Go ahead and write that down so you guys can go back and you can answer it, right? And like I said, you guys can also put your questions in the Dear Me, I Am Me community. And we're gonna go over that on Wednesday in our private chat as well. Okay. And from there, the conversation naturally shifts, right? So, the way you speak to yourself when nobody is around, okay? See, most of us would never talk to someone we love the way we talk to ourselves. That is not going to happen. And if we do, that's our own self insecurity we have to face. Okay? So you can't keep talking to yourself and self criticism to yourself and expect to grow from it. Remember we said that, right? Like you can't keep talking negative about your own self and then expect yourself to grow, right? That's just not going to happen, right? And and you can't expect your circle to grow either, right? Because frequencies and energy attract each other, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get into the second question of tonight. Let's go ahead and get into the second question of tonight, y'all. If your inner voice became a person standing beside you every day, would it feel supportive or critical? That's a real good question. I think that's a real good question right there. If your inner voice became a person standing beside you every day, would it feel supportive or will it feel critical? Like we said last week, because we talked about this last week. We said last week, we said supportive or no, we said growth or shame. So will it feel growth or shame, or will it feel supportive or critical? Which one are you choosing? Which one are you choosing? All right. And what happens next is something that most people don't talk about. Okay, let's keep this ball rolling. Are y'all with me in the chat? Put some mirrors in the chat if y'all with me. Put some mirrors in the chat if y'all are with your girl tonight. Put some mirrors in the chat if y'all are with your girl tonight. I got the sneezes. Hold on, y'all. I don't know what's going on tonight, but your girl got the sneezes, honey. All right, all right, all right. So, like I said, and what happens next is something most people don't talk about, y'all. What happened next is something most people do not talk about. Once your inner world starts changing, your outer world starts shifting too. You start to show up differently. And that's when people start to notice that you start showing up right. Sometimes they might not even say anything, right? Sometimes that can make you feel encouraging. And sometimes it can make you feel uncomfortable, right? But can we stay committed to our growth, right? Even whether people start reacting to it or whether they don't? Can we start staying committed to our growth, right? Can you stay focused? Can you stay focused even if they don't say anything? Let me say that one more time to make sure y'all understand that. Can you stay committed to your growth whether a person is reacting to it or not? I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Can you stay committed to your growth whether a person is reacting to your growth or not? Can you stay focused? Can you stay focused? All right. So let's go ahead and get into the next question. All right. Have you ever felt pressure to go back to an older version of you to make others feel comfortable? Have you ever felt pressure to go back to an older version of yourself to make others feel comfortable? Have you? Have you backtracked? Have you stopped your own growth? All right. These are questions that you guys have to ask yourselves. These are questions that you have to ask yourselves. And like I said, you guys, if you do not feel comfortable putting them in the chat, it's also good that you are writing these down, right? So you can go back and you can reflect on this on your own, right? And if you do want to put your answers out there, the Dear Me I Me community is right there, you guys. It's right here. We ain't going nowhere. And you can put your comment in the chat, right? And we will review it on Wednesday. Especially if you don't want others to see your especially if you don't want others to see your comments, right? But those that are members that are in the group just like you are, right? Right? I don't know what's going on. I'm starting to feel a little uh, my nose, but we gonna get through this. All right. So when we pull all this together, right? When we pull all of this together, when we pull the growth, when we pull the self-talk, right? When we pull what happens when people notice that you start changing, right? Here's what we see. Here's what we see. It starts with accountability, right? It starts with accountability, right? Right? You're learning how to own up to your own mistakes, right? Right? Then it goes into self-talk, right? You learn how to speak to yourself. Then it goes into identity. Y'all see the flow? Then it goes into identity. You start to see yourself, then the behavior, right? Give me 1 second. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. Give me 1 second. Like I said, I don't know what's happening, but something literally just came out of nowhere and it just hit me like out of nowhere. This is live, so I'm not editing anything, right? I'm not editing anything. Like I said, we are being honest in our lives. Something just hit me, and I don't know what just went on just now, but we're going to keep it flowing, right? So let me go back, okay? Let me go back to make sure we understand everything that's happening, right? So when we pull all this together, here's what we see, right? It starts with accountability. We learn how to own up to our own mistakes. Then self talk hits us, right? We learn how to speak to ourselves. Then identity comes, right? And we learn how to see ourselves, right? We learn how to see ourselves, right? Then behavior, right? And how you begin to show up differently. And eventually, what happens? People notice. Y'all see how everything we just broke that down just came back together? Listen, we are in here, okay? We are in here. Like I said, like these live are just like introduction. We go deeper on Wednesdays, right? And what we notice in all of this is growth is not just about becoming better. Growth is not just about becoming better. It's becoming more honest with yourselves. Okay? It's about becoming honest with yourselves. Okay? So, following with this question, okay? Following with this question, all right? Following with this question, okay? I want you guys to write this down. What is one way you notice yourself changing recently? What is one way you notice yourself changing recently? And you guys heard me earlier, what I told you, what happened to me earlier. I realized I started saying no to what doesn't belong in my values. I say yes to what makes sense, right? But if it don't make sense, you getting a no from me. All right? All right. So what's one way you notice yourself changing recently? All right. So I wanted to open this up because this is where it's going to like honestly like start becoming like more real. What have you learned about yourself through each one of these conversations that we have had? Okay. We are on 8 weeks, right? And I know it takes like some learning and some adjusting and other things that's happening, right? Because we all have a life. But with you guys being on our lives within the last 4 weeks, because this is 4 weeks that we just put together for you guys tonight, what have you guys learned about yourself through each one of these conversations we have had? All right. And even this, check this out, y'all. Even this. Give me 1 second, y'all. I have to sneeze again. 1 second, 1 second. All right. These sneezes is just hitting you, girl. All right. So even this, check this out. Not just what have you learned through these conversations, what is one belief about yourself you no longer would carry into the next season? What's one belief about yourself that you will no longer carry with you into the next season? What's one? What's one? What's one? What's one? What's one? Write that down. What's one belief about yourself you will no longer carry with yourself into the next season? All right. Hold on, y'all. Into the next season. All right. And if we have summed up the last 4 episodes, it would be this. Hold on, y'all. It would be this. It would be this. It would be this. It would be this. All right. It would be this. You don't have to grow by being harder on yourself. You don't have to grow by being harder on yourself. You grow by being honest without turning that honesty into a punishment. Okay? So as we leave with this live, we leave you with this live. What are you choosing to remind yourself of this week? Okay? What are you choosing to remind yourself of this week? Because this is Dear Me, I Am Me, okay? And the conversation always starts with you. The conversation always starts with you, okay? So I want to say thank you guys for being here. And most importantly, thank you for always choosing yourself, especially tonight. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. Thank you guys for catching the replay tonight. Sorry, you guys, for the sniffling. Out of nowhere, my body just started like coming down. Tonight is always about real conversations. It's about real reflection. It's about real healing. Okay, so if you are ready to take on this journey with us, with the Dear Me, I Am Me community, go ahead and download the journal worksheets. Okay, something you guys will come back to for check-ins, for honest moments like this, for real conversations. Okay, so I see you guys Wednesday in the Dear Me, I Am Me community. We are going to go over some more questions, some Q&A. All right. Y'all already know we're going to always go deeper. Okay. So I will see you guys Wednesday. And until next time, peace, love, and always laughs. See y'all later.